Cubs fans, hold on to your hearts, because what I'm about to tell you will have you pacing around your living room, clutching your W flag, and questioning everything you thought you knew about this franchise's future. Right now, as I'm typing these words, there's a storm brewing in the front office at 1060 West Addison Street that could either catapult our beloved Cubbies into October glory or leave us wondering what if for the next decade. Picture this, it's July 27th, and we're tied for first place in the NL Central with those cheese-loving Brewers sitting pretty at 61-43, just a heartbeat away from having the best record in the entire National League. But here's where it gets absolutely spine-tingling, Cubs fans. The trade deadline is breathing down our necks like a runner stealing second, and our front office is sitting on a gold mine of prospects that every team in baseball is drooling over. I'm talking about a treasure chest so loaded with future stars that general managers are probably losing sleep, refreshing their phones, hoping Jed Hoyer picks up their calls. We've got arms that could anchor rotations for years, bats that could terrorize opposing pitchers, and the kind of young talent that makes scouts wake up in cold sweats. But here's the million-dollar question that's keeping every Cubs fan awake at night. Which of these golden prospects are we willing to sacrifice on the altar of 2025 glory? The whispers from the friendly confines are getting louder by the hour. There's talk of an elite closer who could slam the door on opposing rallies, a ace starter who's been absolutely dealing, and a flame-throwing reliever who could make our bullpen absolutely untouchable. But Cubs fans, every single one of these potential game changers comes with a price tag that could strip away pieces of our future. Make sure you smash that like button. If you're as nervous as I am about what's coming, drop a comment below with your trade predictions. And for the love of Ernie Banks, hit that subscribe button, because the next 48 hours are going to be absolutely bonkers. The pressure is mounting, the phones are ringing, and somewhere in that front office, decisions are being made that will echo through Wrigleyville for years to come. So Cubs fans, are you ready to find out which prospect might be packing his bags first? The first bombshell that's got the entire Cubs organization buzzing centers around none other than Emmanuel Clase, the Cleveland closer who's been absolutely filthy when it matters most. Cubs fans, when I tell you this man could be the final piece of our championship puzzle, I'm not being dramatic. I'm being realistic about what it takes to win in October. Let me paint you a picture of what we're looking at here. Clase is just 27 years old, locked up through 2026 at a bargain price of $6.4 million, with team options that extend through 2028 at $10 million per season. This isn't some rental player who'll wave goodbye after 3 months. This is a cornerstone piece who could be slamming doors at Wrigley Field for the next 4 years. The man literally won AL Reliever of the Year last season and finished third in Cy Young voting. Third in Cy Young voting, Cubs fans. Now I know what you're thinking, but what about his numbers this year? Listen, even in what some consider a down year, Clase is sporting a 2.74 ERA across 46 innings. Yes, his walk rate ticked up from 3.7% to 5.1%. But here's the kicker that should have every Cubs fan salivating. His strikeouts per 9 innings jumped from 7.99 to 9.20. This man is getting better at missing bats just when we need him most. Picture this scenario, Cubs fans. It's Game 7 of the NLCS, bottom of the 9th, Wrigley Field is shaking like an earthquake. And who do you want on that mound with the season on the line? Some mediocre reliever or a proven closer who's been in the biggest moments and delivered? Our bullpen currently ranks 10th in ERA at 380, which is decent, but Clase would transform us from decent to downright dangerous. But here's where your heart should start racing. Cleveland isn't going to just hand over their closer for a bag of baseballs and a hot dog. They're going to want premium prospects, the kind of young talent that could haunt us for years if we're wrong about this championship window. Are we talking about sacrificing Owen Casey's potential 30 home run seasons? Could Moises Ballesteros be the price for October magic? The clock is ticking, Cubs fans, and every minute that passes brings us closer to a decision that could define this franchise for the next decade. But wait until you hear about the starting pitcher who's got Jed Hoyer's full attention. Just when you thought the Clase situation was enough to give you heart palpitations, Cubs fans, let me introduce you to the ace who could completely transform our rotation, Joe Ryan from the Minnesota Twins. If Clase is the lock on our championship door, then Ryan is the key that gets us there in the first place. This 29-year-old right-hander is having the kind of season that makes pitching coaches weep with joy. We're talking about a 10-4 record with a microscopic 2. 63 ERA, striking out 132 batters while walking just 33 in 116 1-3 innings. Cubs fans, opposing hitters are batting a measly .1986 against this man. That's not a typo. That's complete and utter domination. When runners do manage to reach base against Ryan, 82.6% of them die there, stranded like ships in the night. Here's what should have every Cubs fan on the edge of their seat. Our starting rotation currently ranks 15th in ERA at 4.03. That's not terrible, but it's not championship material either. Now imagine replacing our 5th starter with a guy who's holding opposing teams to under 3 runs per game while striking out more than a batter per inning. The mathematics of our championship odds just got a whole lot better. But Cubs fans, this is where the plot thickens like Chicago deep dish pizza. Ryan is under team control through 2027, which means he's not just a rental, he's a foundational piece who could anchor our rotation for the next 3 seasons. That kind of long-term value doesn't come cheap, especially when you're dealing with the Twins, who know exactly what they have in this crafty right-hander. The whispers around baseball are getting louder. Ryan might be the premier starting pitcher available before the deadline. That means every contending team with a farm system is making calls, making offers, and making promises they might not be able to keep. The Cubs have the prospects to get this deal done, but it would likely cost us multiple top-tier talents, the kind of prospects that could be all-stars themselves in a few years. Picture Ryan taking the ball in a playoff atmosphere at Wrigley Field, 40,000 Cubs fans on their feet, the season hanging in the balance. Is that vision worth parting with James Triantos? Would you trade Jackson Wiggins for 3 years of elite starting pitching? These are the questions keeping Jed Hoyer awake at night, and they should be keeping you awake too, Cubs fans. But hold on to your rally caps, because there's one more piece to this championship puzzle that could blow your mind. Cubs fans, if you thought your heart couldn't handle any more trade deadline drama, buckle up, because the final piece of this championship puzzle is about to make your head spin faster than a Ryan Dempster curveball. Meet Jhoan Duran, the Minnesota Twins flame-throwing reliever who could turn our bullpen from good to absolutely legendary. This 27-year-old right-hander isn't just throwing hard, he's throwing 100. 3 mph average fastball velocity, ranking in the 100th percentile according to Baseball Savant. Cubs fans, when I tell you this man's fastball could make opposing batters question their life choices, I'm not exaggerating. With a 1.96 ERA and 52 strikeouts in just 47 1-3 innings, Duran represents the kind of late-game weapon that separates championship teams from also-rans. But here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. Duran has added a sweeper to his arsenal this season with a 55. 6% whiff rate. That means more than half the time batters swing at it, they miss completely. His knuckle curve improved his whiff rate to 42.6%, and his split finger is getting whiffs 27.4% of the time. This isn't just a guy who throws hard. This is a pitcher who's evolving, adapting, and getting better right before our eyes. Now, Cubs fans, imagine this scenario. It's the 8th inning of a crucial September game against the Cardinals. We're up by 1 run, bases loaded, and 40,000 people at Wrigley are holding their breath. Who do you want on that mound? Some middle reliever who might get the job done, or a guy throwing triple digits with 3 devastating secondary pitches? Duran would give us that luxury, that confidence, that swagger that championship teams need. The beautiful part about targeting Duran is that he represents controllable talent, not just a rental, but a cornerstone piece who could dominate late innings at Wrigley for years to come. Combined with potentially landing Clase and Ryan, we're not just talking about a championship push. We're talking about building a sustainable dynasty. But Cubs fans, here's the reality check that should give you chills. Every one of these moves would require us to part with prospects who could be household names in Cubs lore 5 years from now. Are we ready to trade tomorrow's potential for today's championship dream? Is this our moment, our window, our time to go all in? If you're as fired up as I am about these possibilities, smash that like button, tell me in the comments which move you want to see happen most, and subscribe, because the next 48 hours could redefine Cubs baseball for the next decade. Cubs fans, we're sitting at 61-43, tied for first place, with a farm system that could land us game-changing talent. The question isn't whether we can make these moves, it's whether we should. Are you ready to find out if Jed Hoyer has the courage to mortgage our future for championship glory?